You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. I'm talking about the end of everything as we know it. No more birds, no more trees, and perhaps most problematically of all, no more people. You have to put an end to her. Don't linger on the specifics. You have a job to do here. Just get in there and do what needs to be done. We're all counting on you. Look, you're already on the path that leads to the cabin. Why would you be here if it weren't to complete a very important task? You've made it this far, you might as well reach the end of your journey. While I appreciate the mental exercise, we are running up against a bit of a ticking clock. Nevertheless, let me assure you, the princess is locked up because she's dangerous. She is not dangerous because she's locked up. And before you decide to waste even more of our time by asking how I know that, let me suggest a more pragmatic lens through which to view this situation. Causality doesn't matter here, because the end result is the same no matter what led us up to this point. If the princess leaves the cabin, the world will end, and there is no changing that. It's no use arguing semantics over a metaphorical chicken or egg, because the egg is hatched and it's about to ruin everything. Unless, of course, you do your job and slay her. Does it? Are you a monarchist? Is slaying a princess that much worse than slaying a fisherman or a miller or a seamstress? If anything, slaying a princess is much better than slaying a seamstress. Seamstresses contribute something of value to society. Oh, if only that were the case, but I don't make the rules. I have to say I'm surprised at your reluctance thus far, but unfortunately for the both of us, you're the only one who can pull this off. Like I said, I don't make the rules, no matter how much I wish I did. Are you serious? No, you have to do it. Of course I haven't. Why would I even consider that? Nobody wants the world to end. I mean, maybe some people do. Nihilists, or very, very evil people, but surely you're not one of those, right? Yes, but you'll have to slay her before you get it. It's a secret, but I think you'll like it. It's a special reward, just for you. And whatever you think it might be, I can promise you it's going to be even better than your wildest imagination. Then I guess we'll just have to see what happens, but a word of warning. If you go in prepared to hear her out, she could easily trap you in her web of lies, and the more you listen to her honeyed words, the harder it'll be to pull yourself out. Then each and every one of us is doomed. So sure, go, talk to her, see how that turns out for all of us. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice softly carries up the stairs.
Hello? Is someone there?
It's hypnotizing. It's the kind of voice you only have to hear once to remember it for the rest of your life. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. You're playing a dangerous game by coming here unarmed.
You are? It's been so long since anyone's come down here. I was starting to think they'd forgotten about me.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's beautiful. How could someone like this be a threat to anyone? I am begging you to stay focused. There's a lot riding on you here.
Hi. Do you think you can get me out of these chains? Okay. Oh.
She pauses, carefully formulating her words before she responds.
You can address me as Your Royal Highness. Or you can just call me Princess if Your Royal Highness is too formal.
Is Princess her name or her title? What if it's both? Could you imagine being named Princess?
Like I said, you can call me Princess if you'd like. I'm sorry, I've been down here so long, I guess I've just forgotten. I must have a name, though. Everyone has a name.
Okay, that's weird. She hadn't even thought to pick a name for herself. Hopefully you're starting to see that she can't be trusted. Go back upstairs, get the blade, and slay her before it's too late.
Of course I'm locked up down here for a reason. I don't actually know what that reason is, but you don't just stuff a princess in a basement and throw away the key without there being some sort of an explanation, right?
You have all the explanation you need. You should know better than to trust whatever she comes up with.
I don't see what that has to do with anything.
This is the only time this is ever going to happen, but I agree with the princess. That's hardly relevant. Okay, but actually, what has she been eating? She has to eat, right?
Is that why they threw me down here? But I don't want to hurt anyone. I like the world, I think. I don't remember much about it, to be honest. I've been down here for so long.
That's... How long has she been locked away?
Did they tell you how I'm supposed to end the world? I don't know how to destroy the world, if that's what you're getting at.
I believe her. She doesn't have to know how to destroy the world to be capable of doing it.
At the end of the day, whatever the two of us have going on down here is about trust. Whoever sent you to slay me claimed I was a threat to the world, but they didn't tell you why. I don't trust that. And I don't think you do either, or you wouldn't have come down here to talk.
She has a point. We're talking like this for a reason.
So this shouldn't be about what I'd do if I got out of here, or me saying the right thing to convince you to save me. This is about how messed up this whole situation is. This is my life we're talking about. Do you really think I can even end the world? Why would I even want to? We both know that if there's people we can't trust in this situation, it's whoever locked me down here, and it's whoever sent you here. And those two groups are probably one and the same.
Don't let her turn the tables here. This isn't about trust. This is about risk. We stand to lose everything, all for the sake of one person, and a subjugating monarch, no less. Only making this more difficult.
Thank you, and you won't. I promise.
You're making a huge mistake. No, you're doing the right thing. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
I'm guessing you don't have the key?
Maybe it's somewhere upstairs. Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
Maybe there's some way to break the chains? Or if that doesn't work, I guess we can always cut me out of them.
She offers the suggestion with almost complete nonchalance. If we were stuck down here long enough, I'm sure we'd be nonchalant about cutting our way out if it meant we could finally be free. You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place. Is someone else here? You try the door, but it's locked from the outside. Your shouts and pleas are met with silence. You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is done. You make your way to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd just taken the blade like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone. Look at the mess you're in.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they?
There's a slight panic rising in the princess's voice.
If I could just get out of these chains, I know we could force our way out of here together.
She barely hesitates before raising her arm to her mouth, her teeth tearing through her limb with the determination of a trapped wolf. As she rips her flesh from her bone, a sound comes from behind you, the clang of bouncing metal. It's the blade from upstairs. You're not sure how it made its way down here, but if there's a time to strike, it's now. Or we could use it to free her. You won't like what happens if you do that. Fine. Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the ragged, self-inflicted wound on the princess's arm, just above the unyielding chain binding her to this place. You cut into her flesh. The blade is sharp, and it takes little effort to crack through the bone of her arm. Her limb falls to the ground, and the heavy chains follow suit. She didn't so much as utter a sound through the whole ordeal. No, she didn't. She smiles softly as her gaze meets yours, blood from her wounded arm dripping rhythmically to the ground. How is she still smiling after everything? It's like she isn't even bothered by what just happened.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. No, I can't just let her escape into the world. As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade. Wait, this isn't fair. You can't just do that. Watch me.
What are you doing?
Okay, there's no going back now. I'm with you to the end. You bring the blade down to strike at the princess's heart. But she's fast. She ducks to the floor, your blade narrowly grazing her backside. Slaying her won't be easy now that she's free.
We could have gotten out of here together. Were you just lying to me this whole time? I don't know what's come over you, but if I have to kill you, then I'll kill you. Do you think I need both of my arms to do that?
She pounces on you with the same animal ferocity she used to tear through her arm. But you have a weapon. You raise the blade, digging it under her ribs, aiming directly for the heart. It's not enough to stop her. You feel her claws in your throat, then her teeth, somehow sharp enough to pull apart your flesh and sinew with ease. You collapse to the floor, your body unresponsive as your blood pools on the ground beneath you. She stares down at your ravaged form, eyes shining in the darkness, dress stained in red as her blood and yours both seep into the fabric. If we're lucky, the wound you managed to inflict will be enough to at least delay her escape from this place. If we're very lucky, it will kill her before she can reach the outside world. It can't just end like this, right? As much as I'd prefer for things to have gone differently, I can't deny the reality of what's happened. I'm sorry, but it's over. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. A terrible sense of déjà vu. No, you don't have that. This is the first time either of us have been here. If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. Brilliant. We need to keep our cards close to our chest, and I'm not sure we can trust him. You know I can hear you, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. Did I say I'm not sure we can trust him? Slip of the tongue, bit of the old brain fog. I meant to say that we should probably head over to the cabin and slay that princess. We already know we can't trust her, so let's get on with the show. We could go back and forth on this forever, and it won't get you any closer to doing your job and saving the world. So let's just agree to disagree. Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. If you're back here, I'm assuming you died, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me. We were just weighing our options in a morally ambiguous situation. You can't blame us for weighing our options. I can if you failed to slay the princess, which you apparently did. So great, congratulations. You've been given another chance to actually do this right. And I believe your other question was something along the lines of, oh, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. We were killed by the princess and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died? Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything, just like I told you she would? That's a very good point. This princess character seems like a lot of trouble, and if you think about it, actually slaying her probably breaks us out of this cycle, right? We don't want to be stuck here forever, do we? You're laying it on a little thick, aren't you? Laying it on a little thick? What are you talking about? I'm sharing my honest opinions. What matters is that almost everyone seems to be on the same page. So whenever you're ready, you can stop dawdling, get to the cabin, and save the world. Just be quick about it. Like I said, if she killed you, it was probably because you didn't listen to me. Don't talk to her, don't trust her, just go in, do your job, and save the world. She just can. Believe me, I wish I could tell you more, but you'll just have to trust that what I'm saying is true, and that, despite it all, you're fully up to the task that's been given to you. People locked her in that basement, and I told you what this place is. It's a path in the woods. Don't overcomplicate things. I'm not supposed to say this, but it's because you're special. You're the only person capable of doing this. Call it a prophecy, if that helps, but it's just the way things are. Oh, I didn't know we were special. Of course you're special. Why else would you be here? Good point. That really explains almost everything. I'm not so sure about that. You know, you're right, but it explains almost everything. I've told you everything you need to know. Going into more detail would just overcomplicate an otherwise very simple situation and make your job more difficult. If you want us to stand a chance against her, we need to be armed with information. What is she really capable of? How are we supposed to stop her? Not to sound like a broken record, but the less you know about her, the better things will go for all of us. I know it sounds like I'm hiding something, but you're just going to have to take me at my word. I don't think either of you really need to press the man on this. He wants us to slay the princess, so why would he have anything to hide? He seems like a nice guy to me. I appreciate the vote of confidence, but you should really stop wasting time chatting amongst yourselves in the woods. So if we could move this along? Great. Now, if you don't mind, the whole world is waiting with bated breath for you to save it from ruin. a warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
Don't worry, I think we've taken that lesson to heart at this point. You can trust us to get the job done. The interior of the cabin is a mess of twisted roots. The walls a chaotic weave of knotted wood that, almost as if by accident, just happened to resemble a room. The floor is damp and earthy, and the only furniture of note is a slab of mud in the shape of a shelf, with a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. That's because there isn't a mirror. There's the muddy shelf, the blade sitting on the muddy shelf, and the door to the basement. There's nothing else in here. There's definitely a mirror. But he says there isn't one. That's got to count for something, right? Come on now, he's pretty much in charge here. When have authority figures ever lied about anything? If there were a mirror in this cabin and we were supposed to look at it, he would have told us about it.
Exactly. Why would I lie about something so meaningless? What good would a mirror even do? That you waste time preening yourself instead of doing what needs to be done?
Very different.
Maybe that's because you haven't actually been here. I hope this means you'll finally drop that ridiculous past life nonsense. You haven't died, and you certainly haven't been killed by the princess. So focus up. A lot's riding on this. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here.
This really isn't funny. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall.
I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now.
Well, at least we can all agree now that there's nothing to see here. Case closed. Good work, everyone. You take the blade from the shelf. It would be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. Well, if we're grabbing a weapon, we should probably keep it hidden behind our backs. She doesn't have to know we have it. That's not actually a bad idea. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase dug into the muddy earth below. The ceiling is thick with roots that hang like locks of tangled hair. The weak starlight from the cabin windows behind you can barely penetrate the gloom here, only illuminating the edges of an opening below. It shines in the darkness like some kind of massive maw waiting to swallow you up into the earth. The air smells of dirt and copper. It's thick and wet, as if your lungs are being coated in mud with each intake of breath. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her voice skitters up from below.
Something nasty finds itself on my stairs. Come on down. Don't be scared. I probably won't bite. But you are. You're a wretched little thing. I recognize that voice as easily as I recognized your nervous little footsteps coming up the path. I know who you are, and I remember what you've done.
See? She knows us. Is this enough for you to believe what we've been saying? Maybe, but you shouldn't let that cloud your judgment. She's just a princess. As long as you remember that and remain focused, slaying her will be easy. She seems friendly enough. Maybe we can talk our way out of this whole situation. You can't. Unless you slay her right away, she's going to break free and end the world. There's no reasoning with what she is. Look, I'm just throwing ideas out there. I like to think out loud. I'm the kind of guy who likes a discussion. Don't we want to hear what everyone has to say before making any big decisions? Do you want to hear what everyone has to say? Or do you just want to hear yourself talk? You need to stop lingering. Your task is to slay the princess, not endlessly debate about what to do with the princess. Fine. You're the boss. Thank you. You descend the basement steps, entering the dark room below. You can just make out the shape of the princess in the gloom. She's huddled against the far wall, her eyes bright and glaring from amid the thick roots.
And there you are, one hand tucked away behind your back, gripping that sharp, sharp blade, no doubt.
That's no fair. How would she know that?
So, we've dropped the pretenses. Good.
She's acting like she already knows you. I guess what you said back in the woods really was true. That's pretty sharp. How'd you figure that one out? Call it deductive reasoning. Well, you seem to be great at it. So, you really don't remember us, do you? No, I don't. But you and the princess clearly have a shared reality, even if I'm not a part of it. I won't waste time fighting you on something that's clearly true. You fought us on it back in the woods. That was when the only perspectives we had were yours and mine. I'm just glad we could put all this behind us. Is it all behind us? Just focus on the task at hand. I don't care if you've been here before, and I don't care if you think you'll go somewhere else after this. My world is on the line right now, so I'd appreciate it if you would take this seriously and slay her. Let's chat her up a bit first. Maybe we can find a middle ground where everyone's happy. Don't talk to her. You're just going to make things more difficult than they have to be.
Well, I seem to remember you having a tongue.
Ooh, smart. Let's apologize. Get us back on the right foot.
Oh, you're sorry. Isn't that nice? You're such a gracious little monster. If you're sorry, then let me out of here. Prove it. Oh, I don't need you to cut me out.
The princess grins as the chains fall from her wrist. She could have gotten out of those the whole time. That sneaky little... A woman after my own heart, really. She knows how to hold her cards close to her chest. This is why she can't just be abandoned here. If left to her own devices, she'll find a way out. Now stop her.
Is that a joke? Do you think a joke will charm my trust back? You'll have to try harder than that. I suppose you didn't come into my hovel of your own accord, did you? All right. I suppose I could team up. I need a way out after all, and unfortunately you're the only one I have.
Seems to me like she's offering a mutually beneficial arrangement. We should take it. Do you know what the word mutually means? Because it sounds to me like she's offering an arrangement that benefits her and her alone.
would I do such a thing? Is someone's guilty conscience getting to them? But I wouldn't worry. As much as I may hate you, letting you live is in my best interests. If you get me out of here, the only thing that will be dead and buried is the bad blood between us.
Oh, that nagging feeling you mentioned is me, by the way. I'm actually a little anxious about a potential backstabbing event. She needs us to get out of here. We'll be fine if that's what we decide to do. You won't be fine because destruction is in her nature. If she gets out of here, that's it for the world, remember? Even if that's true, that doesn't automatically mean she's going to stab us in the back. I think that depends on your definition of words like stab and in the back. She might not literally do that, but she could very well symbolically do the same thing. See? He gets it. There's nothing wrong with looking out for number one.
You were the one who tried to kill me when my back was turned. You were the one who started all of this. Only a poor loser twists their own failures around on the winner.
You can't be serious. Now, hold on. We should put this to a vote. The blade is one of our most valuable assets. We can't just give it to her. What if she uses it to kill us? I vote no. As do I. Abstain? You abstain? She's going to kill us if we give it to her. You're going to get everyone killed, you know that, right? But of course you do. You toss the blade at the princess's feet. She eyes it with suspicion before kneeling down to pick it up.
I wouldn't have done that. Why did you?
She creeps forward, taking one cautious step at a time until you and she are face to face.
What do you think happens now?
Her shoulders tense and her eyes dart away.
This is another trick. You're trying to sow doubt, but it's not going to work on me.
And then she buries the blade in your heart. What? No, come on, that's not right. I told you this is what she was going to do. Glee dances across her face as you fall to the ground.
I did it. I got you. You...
The princess seems to tremble, her smile fading quickly, replaced with concern. Her nervous eyes brim with tears.
Why? Why did you let me do this?
But you don't have the strength to respond, nor do you have the time. Everything goes dark, and you die. You're on a path in the woods. I can't believe she actually stabbed us. I told you not to give her the blade. I told you it would come around to bite us. I voted against it. Yeah, we know. You already got your I told you so's in while we were bleeding out.
I just wanted to make sure that everyone here knows that I was, and am, on the right side of that argument.
Oh, you're far from being on the right side of anything. You're fixated on the past, whereas what you should be is fixated on the future.
Ho ho, a visionary. I like it. Tell me more.
Gladly, my dear fellow. By cruelly turning on the princess in her moment of vulnerability, we made ourselves an enemy. But by mastering our fear and insecurity and handing over our power, we've begun a journey to something so much deeper.
I like journeys. Travelling is a bit of a passion of mine. It makes me so relatable. Now, where are we off to?
Well, if we're lucky, it's a journey to love.
She hates us.
Does she? She hesitated before stabbing us to death.
Maybe she won't be as keen to betray us this time. We've already proven to her that we can change. So maybe she'll realise that things don't have to end in violence. You know, maybe you're right. In which case, I suppose the only thing to do is to get back to the cabin and give it another try.
Give what another try exactly?
You are aware I've been listening to you, right?
It makes no difference if we conspire in the shadows or bear our intentions with open hearts. We are breaking your cruel cycle and whisking her away to freedom.
Oh, are you now? Great, so you've obviously been here before, since you apparently died at least once.
Twice, actually.
Sure. Twice. Then I'll spare you the little introduction I had planned. You already know about the princess, and clearly you already know that she's dangerous. So don't muck this up. It's bad enough that this isn't your first time through. Wonderful. If the woods themselves are changing, then that's all the more reason for you to take this seriously. It would mean your grip on things is slipping, which, in turn, likely means her influence is spreading. Someone's in the know. I've already said too much. The more information you have, the more difficult your task will be. Don't listen to her, definitely don't free her, and if you can, don't even think about her.
You don't have to worry about me. My head's always empty. Except for thoughts of her.
What do you want me to say? It's bad that you've been here before. It's bad for you, it's bad for me, and it's especially bad for the world. The more times you run through this, the more likely it is that you'll fail. You've already failed twice. So you knew this could happen? Theoretically, sure, I knew this could happen, but I was supposed to be the first. I'd really rather not get into it.
I don't care about where we came from, and I don't care to discuss the theory of anything. I yearn only to bring her freedom. I'm here to feel, not to think.
Then we can all move on, and forget what I said about failure. It's important that you believe in yourself, and the fact you're here probably means that you still have a chance to pull this off and save the world. My world, at least. It sounds like you've probably doomed a couple of others already. I need to stop talking. Think happy thoughts. Yes, good. Playing both sides. That's what smart people do, and you're the smartest in the room. I'm not sure it counts as playing both sides if people can hear you doing it. Buddy, you're thinking in far too few dimensions. There's layers to doing this right, and I'm pretty sure the one making the choices gets that. Trust in what plan? The Decider's plan. Sure, we don't know what the plan is yet, but that's part of the whole trusting thing, isn't it? A good leader knows how and when to keep things secret, and sometimes a good leader even knows to keep things secret from himself. There isn't a plan, and that's the whole point. We're supposed to be guided by emotion. We're supposed to passionately live in the moment, and I'm sure that when the time comes, those passions will tell us to set our darling princess free. If I were you, I'd remember what she's done. You know how dangerous she is, and you should know that someone like her shouldn't be let loose upon the world. It isn't long before you find yourself at the base of the cabin. I think it's clear where everyone stands at this point. I don't know if I'd say everyone. You talking about me? I have a position. It's a good one too. Ignore him, he's just talking for talking's sake. My position is the only one that matters. You know what you have to do. The interior of the cabin is hardly an interior at all anymore. The burned-out ruins merely suggest the shape of the structure that once stood here, charred wood still reeking of ash. But beneath it lies the fresh smell of spring growth after rain, the promise of new life in the wreckage of the old. The only furniture of note is the crisp shell of what was once a table, a pristine... Wait, this isn't right. There's supposed to be a pristine blade. Why isn't there a pristine blade? We gave it to her last time. She can't still have it, can she? Well, it's not here. And if she has it... Let me guess. You want to get all chummy with her. Look, as far as I see it, if it's between him and her, I say we side with the one who has the weapon. It's just the smart thing to do. I wouldn't be so hasty. I'm sure the blade will turn up somewhere. She can't have it. That's not how this is supposed to work. If she does have it, that's all the more reason to put our faith in her. We have already shown her our heart. Now she has to show us hers. Unless her heart tells her to stab us, which doesn't seem unlikely, so yes, I agree. Let's make sure we get on her good side. You're right, the mirror is back. There isn't anywhere for us to go. But there isn't a mirror. I still don't get his angle here. Either way, I say we take a look. It feels like it's been forever since we've actually seen ourselves. For all we know, our feathers are all out of place, and that's why we haven't yet won her heart. We must put our best face forward. Yeah, we can't go around looking disheveled. A real go-getter takes care of his appearance. So, is the door to the basement behind the mirror? I promise you there isn't a mirror, and there isn't a door to the basement. The entrance is more of a burned-out frame than anything else, and it's right there on the far side of the room. Do you really not see it? You step forward and approach the scorched entryway leading to the basement, hesitating before you begin the descent. You know what you have to do. Wipe away the grit from the mirror, and behold our handsome features. It went away when we touched it last time. You reach forward and wave your hand through the hollow entrance leading to the basement. You really thought there was a mirror there, didn't you? That can't be good. As if things weren't unpredictable enough. Alas, our fine features remain unseen. We'll just have to trust that she'll find us beautiful as we are. Well, seems like the only way to go is forward, isn't it? Yes, that's where everything tends to be. Let's just put on a good face and have our wits about us. You step through the frame of scorched wood and make your way into the darkness below. The stairs to the basement are covered in a fine layer of gritty ash. The air still feels warm, as if the fires that ruined this place had only recently been extinguished. Yet fresh shoots of thorny branches are already weaving themselves through the soot-covered earth of the walls around you. Their spines point courteously down towards the basement, so you're able to brush past their jagged points with ease, at least on the way down. But you don't need to think about the way back up just yet. That's a matter for after the world's been saved.
These thorns are an expression of her pain. I know it. She's calling out for help.
Her voice, worn down by pain and suspicion, hobbles up the stairs.
I can't get away from you, can I? You betray me, I kill you, and you come back. You let me kill you, and you come back. I don't know why you let me do that. I don't know what you want from me. I think you know how this goes. I'm down here and I can't leave. So, come down and talk. It's not like I can stop you.
You continue down the basement stairs, brushing past the smooth edges of thorns that grow more and more plentiful as you make your way forward. You step out into what was once a vast open cavern, now overrun by briars and prickles and thistles, the space thick with hostile vegetation. At the heart of it all, encased in a tight weave of vines, is the princess, her bloody, trembling hands clutching a pristine blade.
Did you know this was going to happen to me? Are you here to watch me suffer? Are you here to laugh? I want to trust you.
Her grip tightens on the blade.
But you're hiding something, aren't you? Why would you help me if you weren't helping yourself?
The princess clutches the blade closer to her chest.
That sounds nice. I'm so tired of the bad blood between us. But it's hard to let it go. You've hurt me.
Her eyes dart away from yours for a brief moment.
And I've also hurt you. I don't know. What can either of us really say at this point? How can we trust something as hollow as words?
She's right, there's nothing left to say. So let's get a move on and do something before she comes up with a scheme to get out of here on her own.
We don't need words to send a message. It is through action that we can show her our adoration, our devotion, our kindness.
Her eyes briefly meet yours, then dart back to the floor. She hangs her head in resignation.
Okay.
You reach towards her bloodied hands, laying your palm on her trembling fingers. For a moment, she clutches it even tighter, her knuckles going white with the effort.
But then the tension fades. Her grip finally loosens and she allows you to take the weapon. You carefully pull it free from the thorns, though they scrape at your skin, leaving red trickles of fresh blood all along your arms. She trusts us. She trusts us. Doesn't that set your heart aflutter?
Yeah, a little. It could just be nerves. Being this close to her does bring back unpleasant memories, but I don't know, it doesn't feel bad. It feels good. Like we're special to her.
We are special to have gained an ounce of trust from a maiden so guarded. Now all that remains is to free her from her bindings.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's show her how much both of us have changed. Or, hear me out, we slay her. Right here, right now. She's never been so helpless, and if we don't take advantage of that, we may never get another chance. That sounds like a splendid idea. You should listen to him.
I see that the lines have been drawn.
It's 2 against 1. It's 2 against 2. You don't count. And why shouldn't he count? Because he's clearly not one of us. That doesn't matter. He's been with us the whole time. He should get a say.
So, did you mean it? Or was I a fool to hand my life to you?
Yes, what a good idea. Let's cut her free. Oh, so you're suddenly team free her? You can't just switch sides as soon as we make a decision. I can do whatever I want, and I believe with my whole heart that this is the right course of action. Let's free this princess.
Everyone deserves a chance at redemption. Let him join us and be merry. We are all united by our passion.
That's right. What he said. We've already given him a chance at redemption. And who says I don't deserve another? I really mean it this time. I'm big enough to admit when I'm wrong. So I want to help you all free her.
And I have no problem with that. Welcome to the team. You're one of us now. One of the good.
You take the blade to the thorny vines imprisoning the princess, and she flinches, relaxing only slightly as the blade slices into the thick vegetation rather than her arm. And she flinches again as the last of the vines is cut away, as if, after all of that, she's still expecting you to turn on her and stab her in the heart. But you're not going to do that, are you? Still, all it would take is a single slip of the blade.
Such a pathetic attempt at distraction and subterfuge. Our blade is a dashing sword, and every dashing sword is an extension of its hero. It won't slip.
You're right. He can't even make it slip, can he? He's a bit of a nobody. Good thing I've been on your side of all this since the beginning. The princess falls into your arms, tears streaking down her cheeks. I can't believe you're making me describe this. I hate you.
You actually meant it. You rescued me.
Do you see the way she's looking at us? Kiss her. Kiss her now before the moment ends.
Can we actually do that? No, you can't. Absolutely not.
You know as well as I do that we can.
And we wouldn't want to throw away a chance for a special moment, now would we? If I were only capable of throwing myself off a bridge.
Well, are you going to describe our steamy, romantic kiss?
You lean in and you kiss her. And she reciprocates enthusiastically. You kiss. It's done. Are you happy now?
Come on now, this is the big moment. You can do better than that.
Ugh, fine. You and the princess lock eyes and stare deep into each other's souls with all the roaring emotion that comes from letting what once was hatred turn into pure, unbridled passion. Are you making fun of us? And then each of you close your eyes and kiss. Words can describe neither the nuclear fire nor the oceanic depth of your connection. Please. I think he actually likes romance. If history itself were not about to end, historians would document this moment for the rest of time. Musicians would write era-defining ballads, and great artists would expend entire lifetimes trying to merely capture the spark you hold right now. He's making fun of us. It doesn't matter either way, because this is good stuff. I'm aware of my skills. But unfortunately for you, the moment doesn't last forever. You open your eyes, the princess smiles gently up at you. Time for you to damn the whole world to oblivion, I suppose.
That was nice.
Her hand slips into yours, and the two of you rush to the basement stairs. Shameful, really, that the same thorns that so graciously allowed you downstairs are now blocking your only way out. Please, after all the trials we've been through, do you really think a few measly thorns can stop us? Love is an even more powerful weapon than our blade. We cut through those other vines just fine. They're only thorns. I'm not afraid of getting a few scrapes. I'm not even sure we need to do any cutting. We can just move them out of the way. What a pathetic showing, really.
A few pointy sticks can't keep us down here. We're both meant for so much more than this.
As you swing your blade into the thorns covering the basement stairs, they yield. Both you and the princess ascend the stairs without obstacle. This is unacceptable. The second you step out of this cabin with her, the world ends. Do you hear me? What did the world ever do to you to deserve this? Your nightmare is our dream. Whatever world would condemn star-crossed lovers like us to a cycle of violence and despair isn't a world worth saving. We'll weave something new together. Something better. You and the princess hesitate at the cabin door. This is your last chance. We've already made our decision.
We're finally leaving here together, aren't we? And all we had to do was trust each other. It wasn't easy, but I'm glad we finally could.
Hands clasped, the two of you open the door and step out into a new day, you irredeemable murderers.
What do we do now? Where's everything going? Why is it so cold?
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? And there's that mirror again. Why is it here? Why now? He is. Does that mean the world ended? We're top of the pecking order now. Right, boys? The villain vanquished. Does this mean we won? Right. She's gone. It's just us and that awful thing. I can't believe she was taken away from us. The nerve. There's something dreadful about it. I don't think you should. Yes, I fear that we won't like what we'll see. What if we just sit here and preen for a while? That can't hurt, right? If they think it's bad, I'm with them. I'm begging you, don't do this.
It's different now. It feels, I don't know, final.
Something finds me in the long quiet and brings me the gift of a fragile vessel. I am solitary lights in an empty city. What are you? Thoughts without connections, a dim and nascent network. I wish to be more. I think that you are like me. We are oceans reduced to shallow creeks. Yes, nerves and fibers to feel the worlds beyond, perspectives to make my own. This one yearns for connection she feels she doesn't deserve. Even when shown compassion, she hid herself away. She will make for a cautious heart. Do not mourn her. She isn't alone anymore. How can the world have ended if we are talking? You are the only thing I have ever known. The space we're in is vacant. Nothing comes here but us. I know only that they are. I have only just now stirred to consciousness. I could not have trapped you here, and I too yearn to be free. She is part of me, and part of me is her. You speak in circles. Does it matter where one thing begins and another ends? You are familiar, but you are not me. I feel sadness, longing, hope as I witness you. I'm sorry. There are some changes that can never be undone. There are some tears that can never be unshed. This is not a place that can hold a fragment of a concept. The moment she arrived here, she was going to return to me. I promise that it doesn't hurt. Nothing, as we are, but I know that there are worlds beyond us, and that we are meant to reach them. There is no exit, but this vessel is a creature of perception. She can make you forget, if only you believe her to be able to. Bring me more perspectives, so that I may be whole, and perhaps then we will know our freedom. have not lived. I am not afraid to die. Everything, until we meet again. More than you have found, but less than there are to find. I am infinite. The rest will find their own way home. Then we will be here forever, as we are now, unfinished, dry, hollow. You ask of things that cannot be done. To destroy is merely to reshape, to remold. How can I know? I am flickers in something sprawling and unilluminated. If you need time, then I'll wait with you. You are as I am now, and forever is a long time to remain undone. I am not you, but I know that I would return before forever was finished. What textures will you weave for yourself to occupy forever? Will you place the images of you and I into a box for safekeeping? If you close that box, will you become another you in another world? An imaginary pattern repeating itself until it can no longer bear the weight of its hand-drawn cage. You'll always come back to the box, because you'll always want to know what it means to be you. I will be here waiting by your side until you're ready to return to mine. You have returned to me. Though you were gone mere moments, I never left your side. She asks that I tell you to remember her. You won't.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. Seriously? You're just going to turn around and leave? Do you even know where you're going? Fine. I suppose you just quietly continue down the path away from the cabin. Good. What we're being asked to do here is wrong. Better to wash our hands of this whole situation than to take part in it. Ignore that annoying little voice, he doesn't know what he's talking about. That's strange. It looks like this path also leads to the cabin. How convenient. Everything's back on track again. Maybe the world can still be saved after all. You're really keen on wasting everyone's time, aren't you? It's remarkably selfish, if you ask me. I've already outlined the stakes of the situation. If you don't do your job, everyone dies. Like, dies. Forever. Stakes and consequences aren't emotional blackmail. They're facts of life, and if you had an ounce of maturity, you'd understand that. But fine, you turn around and trek back down the path you came. Oh, would you look at that? You're at the cabin again. Now, I'm not normally one for superstition or astrology, but I have to say, it seems like the universe itself is doing its best to bring you to your fated confrontation with the princess. There's always a choice. Let me tell you right now that you're making the wrong one for pretty much everyone who's ever lived, as well as for everyone who ever will. And here we go. As you trudge into the woods, something strange starts to happen. At first, it's little flickers out of the corner of your eyes, glimpses of familiar wooden structures through the leaves. But as you focus on your surroundings, you start to realize that those flickers weren't just a trick of light. In every direction, there is a path and a cabin. And not just a cabin, the cabin. An infinite fractal of paths and cabins desperately trying to draw you back to where you need to be.
Wait, what's going on?
But you're too stubborn for that, aren't you? It doesn't matter how many paths or cabins appear around you, you're just going to do whatever you can to shirk your responsibility because you care more about irritating me than you do about the fate of the world. You've doomed us all, you know that, right? But of course you do. Otherwise you wouldn't just wander off into the forest in search of certain death. You lose track of just how long you spend aimlessly tromping through the wilderness. But it's not like any of that time spent lost in the woods really matters, because it isn't long before the world ends and everyone dies. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will. What are you talking about? I'm sure those walls have always been there. It makes sense if you think about it. If there weren't any walls in the woods, someone might have gotten lost. Or, heaven forbid, someone other than you might have stumbled onto the princess.
If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way.
I don't know. I think it's more fun if he knows what we're thinking. He's like a captive audience. He might have walled off everything but the path to the cabin, but I'm sure there's plenty of other ways we can ruin his day. If by ruining my day, you mean ruining everyone's day forever, then yes, I suppose there are plenty of ways you could pull that off.
The world really did end last time, didn't it? We should be careful. For all we know, we just got lucky.
The world hasn't ended yet, and you are never going to slay her with that attitude. Stuff those pathetic little voices to the back of your mind and stay focused on the task ahead.
Oh, that's clever! A little boring, though. It's extremely boring. Can we really do that? Can we really just do nothing? No, you can't just do nothing. You have to do something. Alright, so it's decided. Even if it's boring, we're going to do nothing. Forever. Congratulations, you continue to waste everyone's time and do nothing. Wait, can you still hear me? It's getting fuzzy. What is that weird feeling? It's like I'm barely even here anymore. Well, it's not nothing, that's for sure. Does that mean we messed up? You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. Don't mention it. It's all part of the job. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Don't be a stranger. It's been so long since I've had any visitors. Come on down.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world? Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something?
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
Oh? No talking then? Fine. What even makes you think you can kill me? I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it. So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this. You lunge forward without a moment's hesitation. You feel flesh easily give way and look down to see your blade already sinking deep into her heart.
Oh. This is it, isn't it? I'm almost embarrassed. I should have seen that coming. But I have to wonder. Do you actually believe this was enough to kill me?
It's like she's convinced she can't die.
Yes, even as she lays there dying, she entirely believes herself to be alive and well. But it's over, isn't it? She stopped breathing moments ago, that arrogant look still plastered on her face. But is it over? Really over? It's over. Don't get all worked up. We should make sure. What's the harm in checking for a pulse? I really don't think you should do that. And why shouldn't we? Is there something you're not telling us? I've told you everything that's happened with complete accuracy. The princess is dead. Your blade pierced her heart. There's no... Yes, exactly. It's over. With your work done, you make your way back up the stairs, closing the door to the basement behind you. Why do I feel like we've done something terrible? You did kill someone. Greater good or not, something would be very wrong with you if you didn't feel at least a little bad. But it was for the greater good. One of these days that will sink in and help ease your guilty conscience. But that day isn't today. Let's just get out of here. You open the cabin door, ready to return to a world saved from certain doom. Only, a world saved from certain doom isn't what you find. Instead, what you find is nothing at all. Where a lush forest stood mere minutes ago, the only thing in front of you now is the vast emptiness of some place far away. What happened? Everyone is fine. It's just that you and the cabin are now far away from them. Don't worry. You'll be safe here. This is good. Everyone is happy. You'll be happy. I'm so glad you're keeping an open mind. This is what's best for everyone. Trust me. Time passes. You can't be sure if it's days or months or years or even decades. It's all a wonderful, boring blur. Psst. Hey, we're not just going to stay here forever, right? Are we really happy? Or is he just telling us that we are? Really? Well, if you ever change your mind, just let me know, I guess. More happy time passes, though the word begins to lose its meaning. Time, that is, not happy. Happy still has plenty of meaning. Please, shake yourself out of it. We have to get out of here. The little voices, please, fall on deaf ears. Eventually you pass into a blissful state of pure existence. Though words like eventually and pass ceased to have any meaning to you long before that shift, you simply exist. Happy
forever.
You have already committed to my completion. You cannot go further astray.
Good, because I have an idea to get us out of here, though you're probably not going to like it. The blade. We can use the blade to get out of this.
I can hear everything you say, little voice. There's only one thing it would want you to use that blade on, and I'm afraid that thing is you, dear hero.
He's right. It's the only way out.
Do you hear that? It wants to take this happiness away from you. It wants this wonderful place to end. Do you not? There's more for us to do, and the only way for us to do it is to take that blade and use it. Don't you dare. How astute. You are absolutely correct. Using the blade to kill yourself would kill you, and you shouldn't do it. In a sense, we die, but looking at things from another angle, are we even really alive anymore? This place, it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. It's just the same thing, constantly, forever. I know this is out there, but trust me, I know using the blade will work. That little voice didn't want you to slay the princess. It didn't want you to be happy. If we die, you can yell at me all you want. I made this happy little place for you. Is this not a good enough reward for saving the world? An eternity of bliss? You ingrate? Fine. Whatever. For the first time since time stopped meaning anything, you throw open the door to the basement and walk down the stairs. The princess's body is dust and bones, though the blade you used to slay her is still as pristine as the day you first held it. You pick up the blade, you stab yourself, and you die. The end. Nice knowing you. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. I can assure you that you're not dead. And to answer your second question, you're here to slay the princess. I literally told you that a second ago.
If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. That's fine. It wasn't very hard to kill her last time. We'll just do it again.
Well, if for whatever reason you're going to insist that this has happened before, at least your heart's in the right place. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says.
She won't be a problem.
The interior of the cabin is cold, a soft odor of dirt permeating the air. Cobwebs flutter in the corners. You can hear wind whistling outside, banging the shutters against the windows. The only furniture of note is an elegant antique table with a pristine blade perched on the edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
It feels like no one's been here for a long, long time. Like I've been saying, She's dead. We killed her already.
You walk up to the wall next to... What are you talking about? This isn't a wall. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how... There was a mirror,
And now it's gone. Let's not spend much longer worrying over it. Clearly it's not...
You take the blade from the table. The door to the basement groans open, revealing an old banister and a creaky wooden stairwell. Everything is coated in a thick layer of dust, and you can feel it settle into your lungs as you breathe in the stale air. The very building itself feels dead. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. The room below is silent. Nobody's here. Naturally. As much as I appreciate the optimism, you shouldn't be so sure. I guess we'll just have to go down and see. As you descend the final step, the form of the princess comes into view. A skeletal body lying in a heap on the floor, its wrist still bound to the wall by a thick chain. Okay, she's definitely dead. It's just like I told you. Before you have a chance to finish your thought, the top of a head appears from underneath the floor. Two deep-set eyes stare up at you, followed by a mischievous, skeletal grin. And finally, the rest of the body floats up to join the head. Wait, this isn't right. What's going on here? Ghost!
Oh. Wow. How absolutely terrifying. What's a ghost supposed to do to us?
Oh, it's you. Hiya, Keller. I was hoping to see you again. I have some issues with how our last meeting went.
The princess drifts across the room into your orbit, gently running her fingers across your shoulders and down your neck as she circles you. Her touch is cold and ethereal, formless yet real enough that her icy fingertips send shivers dancing across your skin. So she has a body, and she's right there. That means we could kill her again, if we wanted to. Without a moment's hesitation, you lash out with your blade. It's like you're slashing at air. No matter how many times you stab at her, no matter how many angles you strike from, all you manage to do is interrupt her form, the skin of your hand prickling with cold as it passes through, unable to find anything solid.
You're adorable when you're confused.
But I didn't say you could touch me.
Why are you even here? Just making sure you finish the job, or what?
A boring question with an easy answer. Nothing. She's dead. Dead things can't hurt us.
That's for me to know, and for you to wonder about. Maybe I can't do anything to you.
See?
Or maybe I can rip your heart out.
Who's to say, really?
I don't like the uncertainty here. I don't know what to do or who to trust.
You don't look dead, killer.
The princess grabs your wrist, a sudden shock of cold flowing all the way up your arm, her eyes still fixed on yours as you try to squirm out of her grip.
And you don't feel dead either.
She lets go and pulls away. Your fingertips tingle painfully as the chill subsides.
I'm less interested in why you are, or how you are, and a lot more interested in what you are. I've tried to leave on my own. Before you came back to me, I explored every inch of this place, even the spaces between the walls. But I never found a way out. I always wound up right back here. I just want to go home. I'm so cold and alone here. But you can come and go as you please, can't you? So, let me hitch a ride.
After all, you own me.
Absolutely not. Is she asking if she can possess us? She is. And I hope I don't need to explain why you can't let that happen. It would be catastrophic if she managed to escape this place. And if you let her in, there is very little anyone could do to stop her. Would she be able to see us if we went along with it? Now, isn't that an interesting thought? We could finally bring her face to face with him. I wonder what she would have to say to the one who wants her dead so badly. You won't like how things play out if you go down this path.
Then I won't hitch a ride. I'm sure you'd like to know. It's a shame I won't tell you. But it'll be easier for both of us if you just let me in. And doesn't it sound nice?
Maybe for her, but it's crowded enough in here as is.
You won't have to feel guilty anymore. If you even do feel guilt.
It could be the best way to trap her for good. Doesn't seem like it would be very easy to end the world from inside someone else's body. That is a very dangerous train of thought.
If I'm able to, but for all we know, that's not how it works. Maybe I'll wind up stuck with you for a long time.
Do you hear the way she said that? She knows more than she's letting on. Don't let her fool you into doing something you'll regret.
Sure, why not?
That doesn't sound very reassuring. I can't believe you're even entertaining her right now. I mean, just look at her. Do you think she has good intentions for her murderer's body? Of course she doesn't.
And what? You just believed that? You killed me without giving it any thought? That's cold.
That's rich coming from her. Every time she touches us, it's like we freeze over. She's right, though, but that's neither here nor there. What's done is done. What we do from this point forward is all that matters.
The only thing I've ever wanted was to leave this place. It's still the only thing I want. I don't know. Maybe I'll just fade away. Finally able to rest once I'm free from my unfinished business. Maybe I'll find someone to haunt. Maybe I'll haunt you. It's a tough question, asking someone what she's going to do with her life.
The princess leans in close and pauses, the frigid air between you stale and unmoving.
Especially when that someone is dead.
She pulls back with a playful giggle.
I don't think most living people could answer that either. Does anyone actually know who they are or what they want? I don't know. I just wanted to leave. I still just want to leave.
It does. We're not asking you. We've heard your whole speech already.
I really don't know. I'm not lying to you. I promise. The world doesn't matter. All I remember is that I'm supposed to be there, not here. I'm just supposed to be a part of it. It's home, I think. But what does it mean for anything to end? I ended, but I also didn't. And you ended too. But here you are. And you don't even look any different. I'm not so sure endings are real. How should I know? Why does anyone come back? Maybe I have unfinished business with you. Or maybe you have unfinished business with me. All I know is there's a hole in my chest. Not the big obvious one that you put there. There's something older and deeper. A nagging reminder that I'm not where I'm supposed to be. You poor thing. That must have been so frightening for you.
You know, after everything we've been through, it's nice to see someone finally sympathising with us. This whole thing's been an ordeal, hasn't it? She doesn't mean it.
It serves you right.
I was pretty scared too, when you stood there not saying a word with a knife clenched in your fist. But now you know how bad it hurts to get stabbed in the chest.
It sounds like you got exactly what you were owed.
Yes, obviously things are strange right now. I think it's safe to say that you've seen something you shouldn't have seen. Whatever worlds you've hopped between, whatever versions of me you've met, none of that matters now. There's no changing what's already happened. But you have a job to finish. Finish how? We already did what you told us. And now she's a ghost. You haven't tried slaying her yet this time, though, have you? And then what? And then you'll have saved the world. I think he's asking about what happens after we save the world. If that's even still an option. What do you mean, after? You already know what we mean, don't you? So why don't you go ahead and tell us? You're going to try and lock us away in a timeless void again? because I didn't much care for that.
I'm not going to lock you anywhere.
What an interesting choice of emphasis.
I don't feel very bad, but I guess I'm not dead. So you must have only mostly killed me. Or maybe death is only mostly real, but it's also mostly not real. I'm not sure. I'm just the one these things have happened to, not the one with all the answers, or any of the answers.
But we're not a ghost. Unless we are? Maybe that's why the mirror disappeared. We're actually dead.
Death, at least as a form of permanence, is just a concept. And clearly it's not a very useful one anymore. Maybe we should throw it out entirely.
The princess glances back at the bones lying on the floor.
It's just a body. Do you believe these bones? Or do you believe me? Because those bones aren't talking to you.
She's seeing things pragmatically. We should do the same. Reality is what's in front of us, not our preconceptions of what it should be. There doesn't need to be a static truth. There doesn't need to be objectivity.
You already know what I want. Let me in. Well, yeah, you brought a knife with you. Was I supposed to just welcome you with open arms when you obviously had stabbing on the mind? It could have, but it wasn't. You can't blame me for threatening a would-be knife-wielding murderer, especially when that would-be knife-wielding murderer became an actual knife-wielding murderer.
She might be making it hard for us to kill her body, but those bones look very, very real. Maybe breaking them breaks her.
Or maybe burying them would put her to rest. Don't take any piece of her outside of this cabin. Maybe you should stop looking for loopholes and try harder to actually slay her. But we are trying.
Those are just bones. They aren't me. Bury them, destroy them, whatever. That dusty pile of death is just a reminder of what you've done. It's not a fix for anything.
Push through the princess and rush the pile of bones on the floor, swinging your fist down and smashing through what remains of her ribcage. The ancient bones splinter, then crumble, reduced to dust almost instantly.
Even after what I've said, you still gave it your all. Such a disappointing choice. I don't think I was willing to let bygones be bygones, killer. I was willing to ignore everything you did to me so we could get out of here. Together. All I ever wanted was to leave this place. All I ever wanted was to find a way back home. Wherever home is.
Her eyes turn from wells of sorrow to pits of wrath as she stares into you.
I guess violence is the only language you speak.
She forces her hand into your chest, and then
Yes? Nothing happens. Are you sure about that? Something should have happened. And yet it didn't. We're fine.
No.
You can't be sure if you first hear or feel what happens next, but it is over before you can fully conceptualize what it is. A horrific splintering, the squelching of organs, the rending of tissue, an icy, numbing pain.
I'm done asking. The next time I see you, I'm taking everything I owed. Starting with your body. If you won't choose to give me my freedom, I'll just have to make you give it to me.
She's real now. If she's making us dead, we should return the favor.
You swing your blade towards her briefly corporeal throat. It connects. A gash widens across her neck, glowing, but it's too little, too late. In her hand, you realize she clutches your still beating heart. It thumps unsettlingly.
Did we get her? Even if we didn't, we've given her something to remember.
See you soon, killer.
I'm afraid you'll never know. As she crushes your precious organ in her hand, everything goes dark, and you die.
You're on a path in the wood, and here we go again. Off to slay her. Again.
The deck's stacked, isn't it? We kill her, we start again. She kills us as a goddamn ghost, we start again. I'm starting to think we're being run in circles just for the sake of it.
Come on, let's not give in to all that misery just yet. There's got to be a way out of this. There's got to be a right answer.
Yeah. And what if there isn't? Aren't you listening to me? What if all of this was rigged from the start?
That's ridiculous. There'd be no point in all this if it was just some kind of cosmic busy work.
I think that's exactly what it is. The powers that be, seeing how many ways they can screw with us. Could be it's all some kind of sick joke to them.
Okay, so you've already been here. Twice, even. Great. Then let me poke a few holes in your depressing little theory. Nobody here is screwing with you, and I can't imagine any scenario where you would have started over after slaying the princess. Well, we didn't have to start over. We killed ourselves.
And why, pray tell, did you do that?
Because you decided to foist an infinite tedium on us.
That doesn't sound like me. If I'd had everything my way, you would have effortlessly slain the princess, saved the world, and been given your happy ending.
The ending was the tedium. You locked us in a cabin and sent that cabin to an endless void, and then you told us we were happy.
Well, were you happy? Of course we weren't happy. That's why we killed ourselves. It was awful.
Yes, and then she killed us.
Even though she was already dead. This is all fake. Okay, let's try to get back on track. You're real. The princess is real. The world is real. The people in the world are real. And the danger she poses to all of them is also, quite unfortunately, real. Whatever you did the first time, it sounds like it almost worked. So how about you give it one last try? Because killing yourself seems to undo all the good you almost managed to accomplish.
All this standing around and talking is boring. Let's at least do something. Maybe we'll kill her again. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll even free her.